Hi there, I'm Sonal Kapoor. This is 5 Live here on India Today. On 5 o'clock, we bring you stories that matter. We have been covering the cough syrup story very closely because at 5 o'clock, we turn it into Health O'Clock. Bring you all the relevant stories that should matter. Let's get started with all the top stories of the day. Centre has blamed the Tamil Nadu government now for cough syrup deaths. Sources have say that Centre has blamed the Tamil Nadu FDA. India Today obviously found lapses in the cold rift plant in Tamil Nadu's Kanchipuram. That's a big exclusive that we brought you yesterday. Impact seen today, and we'll bring you a follow-up as well. Meanwhile, Vijay's aide Adhav has moved to Supreme Court on the Stampede probe. Vijay's TVK has sought seeking the Supreme Court monitored probe. Victim's kin in Kapoor Stampede has moved to Supreme Court meanwhile seeking a CBI inquiry. Talking about inquiries, Aryan Khan versus Wankhede legal war is now playing out not on Netflix but actually in Delhi High Court. The High Court has issued summons in Bads of Bollywood case. Wankhede says his wife is being trolled online because of the spoof of his that has been made in the Netflix series. Leadership wars are now haunting Tata Group. Government now playing peacemaker in the Tata trouble. Government has asked Tata honchos to restore stability. Tata Sons chief Noel Tata met with Amit Shah. The latest twist in the Zubeen Garg death case, singer's cousin has now been arrested. Zubeen's cop cousin has been arrested in the death probe. Cousin was present with Zubeen in Singapore. What exactly is happening here? The ED heat on Malayalam superstar father-son duo is heating up. ED has raided superstar Mammootty's property. The son there also raided in car smuggling case. Yet another case another instance really of a blatant war-mongering by Pakistan. Pakistan's Defence Minister Asif has now warned of another war with India. Says the chances of another war with India are real and that he's not denying the risks of conflict. Meanwhile, UK PM is in India. Stammer actually visited Yash Raj Film Studio in Mumbai, and also the Premier League trophy as he visited the youth football training centre there. News for Mumbaikars there as it gets ready for a whole new takeoff. Prime Minister Modi has very recently, now in fact minutes ago, unveiled the second international airport for Maximum City with capacity of handling 9 crore flyers and 3 million tons of cargo every year. The Navi Mumbai International Airport is one of the mega aviation landmarks of now India. And fresh political tensions erupt in Tripura as the Trinamool Congress alleges its state headquarters in Agartala was vandalized by BJP Yuva Morcha activists. Incident deepens political divide after attack on BJP MP in North Bengal. The cough syrup controversy is not just a massive medical crisis anymore. It has turned into a blame game with each stakeholder passing the buck. Remember, we warned you about all of that on day one, that there was nobody taking ownership and perhaps the reason why everybody in some form is to be blamed, and we need to get a bird's eye view on this crisis. Now, Srisan Pharma, the manufacturer of the banned cold rift cough syrup, is under the scanner for over 350 lapses, not one, not two, 350 lapses that were found in India. And this is an investigative ground report number 1 that we are bringing on 5 Live to you. The centre has now blamed Tamil Nadu government in these lapses. Meanwhile, Madhya Pradesh's Chhindwara, which has seen at least 17 children fall prey to the alleged cold reef cough syrup. They have sent a police team to the Srisan Pharma plant as well to probe the factory and arrest the accused. At Srisan Pharma, as they go on to face heat, the big question remains, how many more cold reefs are really out there waiting to happen? Stay with us as we bring you more on this unfolding story. This is our ground report number 1.
The cold reef cough syrup continues to take the lives of more and more children in Madhya Pradesh. And as the story grows deadlier, the scandal is getting murkier. An India Today investigation blew the lid off shocking lapses at Srisan Pharma, the Kanchipuram-based plant behind the now banned syrup. Over 350 violations and a factory in absolute chaos. Inside the Srisan Pharma plant, our cameras found a facility in shambles. Hazardous chemicals dumped carelessly, no ventilation, and absence of basic waste management. Toxic solvents were stored under direct sunlight, a major safety red flag. Dust and debris covered the production floor.
To just give you a glimpse of where the waste gets dumped. This is one of the containers where it's clearly written here, the waste tablets container. It's just openly dumped here. In fact, there are also fillers over here, the drip which is used to drip the cough syrup. It's just openly placed over here. That's just very telling of the kind of lack of responsibility and lack in inventory management on part of the Srisan Pharmaceuticals.
The centre has now lashed out at the Tamil Nadu government over the lapses. Health Ministry sources have told India Today that the TNFDA is responsible for ensuring checks and balances of a manufacturing unit and that the license to manufacture common formulation allopathic drugs is given by state drug controllers. Sources also said that the CDSCO has recommended that Srisan Pharma's license be scrapped, but the cancellation too falls under the state's gambit. The cost of negligence in Madhya Pradesh has been that of 19 child deaths, 17 of them in Chhindwara alone. A police team from Chhindwara has been dispatched to probe the Srisan Pharma factory and arrest those associated.
आरोपी कंपनी जो दवाई बनाने वाली कोल्ड ड्रिंक बनाने वाली कंपनी है, उसके ओनर को गिरफ्तार करने के लिए छिंदवाड़ा से पुलिस की टीम चेन्नई और कांचीपुरम पहुंच चुकी है और कड़ी से कड़ी कार्रवाई की जा रही है.
The cold reef cough syrup remains banned in Madhya Pradesh, Punjab, Rajasthan and Tamil Nadu. And now Telangana has banned 2 other cough syrups, Relief and Respi Fresh, after detecting the presence of diethylene glycol, the same chemical that was found in the cold reef cough syrup manufactured by Srisan Pharma. The plant's oversight is now under the scanner, but the regulatory system still lacks accountability for the lives lost. The cough syrup controversy is not just a massive medical crisis anymore. It has turned into a blame game with each stakeholder passing the buck. With Anaga Keshav, Bureau Report, India Today.
All right, Anaga Keshav now joins us also live from Chennai. Anaga, firstly, congratulations on that fantastic reporting that you've done. We carried the story yesterday here on the program, and just this morning we heard of action being taken. So kudos to you and the camera person who actually went there, discovered all those lapses, and glad that it's been picked up. But the sad reality remains that right now we are looking at a ground reality, a check of sorts done by a news channel on one particular pharma companies. The fear still remains that there are so many like Srisan that exist across states, across cities, and that's going to be our next story. But have you managed to speak to any authorities there, especially the government, to get a reaction from them on what the center is saying, on how it's solely, apparently, just the fault of the state?
Well, in fact, Tamil Nadu's health minister, Mr. Ma Subramaniam, has spoken on this matter. He says that Tamil Nadu government is not responsible for giving out the drug license. In fact, I just want to read out to you what the health minister has said. He says that Tamil Nadu government did not procure the syrup. Show cause notice was immediately issued to Srisan Pharmaceutical company, and criminal action has been initiated. And a third point that the health minister makes is that he says that the Tamil Nadu government took immediate action and that further damage was averted, is what he says. Basically, he says that Tamil Nadu government is not really responsible for what Srisan Pharmaceuticals did. The question still largely remains, as to who actually issued drug license to Srisan Pharmaceuticals. 14 years back, they have obtained this particular license, but who was really responsible for handing out license to Srisan Pharmaceuticals? The very cough syrup that they sold was mixed with lethal industrial solvent, diethylene glycol. The question largely remains, who actually approved drug license for this particular pharmaceutical company. Yesterday, even when we went, it was very hard for us to believe that medicines were being manufactured inside that plant. That's the kind of lowly conditions that we're talking about.
All right. In fact, that was a big breaking news that Anaga was also getting to us right now. The reaction that has come from the Union Health Ministry sources there. They are saying this is not a blame game from centre to state, but Tamil Nadu FDA is not taking action. The question that needs to be asked to Tamil Nadu FDA is why haven't they pressed criminal charges yet, despite the CDSCO's recommendation? Why is the license not cancelled despite the DCGI's clear recommendation? Let's take that question directly to Aniga to understand that. Aniga, you were reading out one report on how the Tamil Nadu government has responded. Now we are hearing from the centre as well. Centre is saying this is not blame game. Their very single pointed question here is, when there was a clear recommendation by the CDSCO to cancel their license, why wasn't that done?
In fact, the health minister says that we have issued a show cause notice, and based on what response gets furnished, based on that action will be taken, and based on that we will press criminal charges, is what Health Minister Ma Subramaniam says. In fact, making it very clear that at the moment we will not really press charges, but based on what reply is furnished by Srisan Pharmaceuticals to the show cause notice issued, we will then take criminal action, is what he says. In fact, an FIR has been filed by the Madhya Pradesh police, and SIT is formed. They will be nabbing the owner of Srisan Pharmaceuticals, Mr. Ranganathan Govindarajan. But as to why is it the Tamil Nadu government has not filed any criminal charges, they are saying that we have issued a show cause notice on behalf of Tamil Nadu Drugs Control Department, and based on the response, in fact, they've allotted 5 days time to the pharmaceutical company to give a response, and based on the answers furnished by them, criminal proceedings will take place, is what Health Minister Ma Subramaniam has stated.
All right, so the health minister saying in Tamil Nadu they need another 5 days to seek a response, but clearly centre is not very happy with that. Milan Sharma is breaking that story and bringing us the perspective of what the centre has to say here. Milan, go ahead, tell us what exactly is the lag, because as you just heard Aniga bringing out the Tamil Nadu side of the story, she's basically saying that they've done their due diligence, they've given their 5 days to respond, but that's clearly not enough, or is that generally not the protocol? Break it down.
Well, you mentioned that you're talking about the lag. So the lag here is that for 14 years, the check was not done. This particular company was operating in a dingy space in Chennai, in Tamil Nadu, and that was not checked by the state drug regulator. Now that we know and we have enough evidence from the centre as well as the state authorities that DEG was in very high levels in cold drift cough syrup manufactured by Srisan Pharmaceuticals, which is a Chennai-based company, why have the licenses not been revoked? The first thing is perhaps the government has come forward and said that the cold drift cough syrup has been banned for usage. So if the cough syrup has been banned, the FIR has been filed by Madhya Pradesh state. There has been action taken at the centre level. Why has the state of Tamil Nadu not cancelled their license as a first point? So this is what happens And therefore, these pharmaceutical companies get away with a lot of things because the protocols and the salt combination approvals are taken in the state. Then these companies start selling the same salt combinations in other states, saying that this particular state has given us an approval, so let us market over there. The deaths have happened in Madhya Pradesh. The pharmaceutical company belongs to Tamil Nadu. So the real question is the state drug regulator of Tamil Nadu, despite knowing all the problems here, is still saying we are giving a show cause notice. What good is a show cause notice going to do now when the cough syrup has been banned? The company's license should be cancelled.
But the centre also is not completely scot-free on this one, right? They also need to come out with what exactly were the guidelines, and they should be the one taking the lead and sending those instructions pan-India as well. But thanks, Milan, for bringing out all those details over there. So that's the big story that we've been breaking here on how earlier there was nobody taking ownership, then there seems to be a fight between state and centre, but clearly none of that is going to cut it. We'll tell you why. Remember, it all started with headlines about killer cough syrups. Toxic, contaminated and fatal. Children lost their lives, tragedy that shook the conscience of the country. But what if that was just the tip of the iceberg? Today we bring you a chilling investigation, one that uncovers how the rot runs far deeper than just a few rogue bottles. And it's not just cough syrups. It's antibiotics, it's painkillers, it's steroids, cardiac drugs, and even everyday supplements. Medicines meant to heal are now turning into silent killers. Because across the country, particularly in Rajasthan, they failed to check drug samples. What's happening there? Drug samples are piling up, and the system meant to protect us is simply looking the other way, or perhaps exhausted, doesn't know what to do. Laboratories are flagging dangerous batches. Reports are being filed. But the law, which demands immediate court action and national recalls, is simply being ignored. What's worse, by the time authorities actually act, lakhs of these doses have already been consumed. They are already in our homes. From small pharma firms to some of India's biggest generic manufacturers, the failures are shocking, and yet they continue to operate unchecked. The story is no longer about one particular syrup, about one particular pharma company. It is about a broken safety net in India's drug regulation, one that leaves every Indian vulnerable, every prescription a potential gamble. This is the investigative report that my colleague Sharat Kumar has done from Jaipur. This is the unseen epidemic of fake and substandard drugs.
Contaminated cough syrup killing children has made headlines. But the truth runs deeper. Every year, millions may be falling victim to counterfeit and substandard drugs. Rajasthan's Drug Control Department has unearthed a trail of shocking findings. Medicines that are meant to heal are in fact harming patients. When India Today examined the department's working, it found labs conducting tests, report being filed, but no action taken. The list is long and disturbing. Antibiotics. 6 batches failed. Over 1 lakh tablets from MediRich Limited were sold before detection. Steroids saw 3 batches failing. Medieval Biotech sold 30,000 doses. Anti-allergics saw 4 batches failing. Theravin formulation sold 35,000 units. Anti-diabetics saw 3 batches failing. Relief Biotech sold 18,000 tablets. 3 batches of painkillers failed. Ipca Laboratories sold 20,000 of them. 8 batches of supplements failed. FE Parenteral sold 40,000 units. Antacids saw 3 batches failing, of which 15,000 units were sold by Aristo Pharma. And 2 batches of cardiac drugs failed, out of which MX Pharma sold 10,000 tablets. So from stomachache pills to ear drops, from injectables to vitamin syrups, some had missing salts, others were infected fluids.
6 सैंपल आया है, 6 सैंपल का नेगेटिव, 1 सैंपल है, 6 सैंपल आए थे, सबका हुआ है, and we are still taking. इसका ही नहीं, बाकी भी सारे लिक्विड फॉर्मुलेशंस का फील्ड में हम सैंपल ले ही रहे हैं. इट इज एन ऑनगोइंग प्रोसेस. और जब भी अगर हमें ऐसा कोई मिलेगा, विल इन्फॉर्म यू इफ यू फाइंड एनीथिंग अबनॉर्मल.
ये कंपनी आगे सप्लाई करेगी अब या कब से करेगी?
ये RMSL का लुकआउट है, पर जो हमें बताया गया है कि RMSL इज पुट ऑन होल्ड 19 फॉर्मुलेशंस जो एक कंपनी बनाता है. उसके आगे क्या करना है वो दे विल टेक अ कॉल.
By law, every failed sample must lead to a court case. By rule, every report must be escalated to the Central Drug Laboratory in Kolkata for a nationwide ban. But none of that happened. Instead, reports gathered dust until the state's drug controller himself was suspended.
राष्ट्रीय स्तर के ऊपर हमारी ये जो सूचना है वो DCGI को भी भिजवाते हैं. वहाँ से हमारे जो ग्रुप्स बनाए रेगुलेटरी का, उसके मार्फत से इमीडिएटली कोई भी दवाई अगर स्पूरियस डिक्लेयर हुई है या एडल्ट्रेशन उसके अंदर पाया गया है तो हमारे ग्रुप में सर्कुलेट हो जाता है और उस बेसिस के ऊपर सभी जगह पे कार्रवाई एक साथ हो जाती है. इसके
There's hardly any disease left for which fake or substandard medicines have not been caught. Yet, the government response remains slow and fragmented. By the time a ban is imposed, lakhs have already swallowed the risk. So while we worry about contaminated cough syrups, the truth is the problem is much bigger. From antibiotics to painkillers, fake medicines are finding their way to your cabinet. And until India fixes its drug control system, every pill could be a potential gamble with life. With Sharat Kumar in Jaipur, Bureau Report, India Today.
And more updates on that story is now coming in. Rajasthan is now to probe all the fake medicines in 15 days. This is the big impact that is coming in of the story that we've just aired for you. Rajasthan's Drug Controller Commission has said that an officer who was in charge for the investigation has now been suspended, and prima facie this appears intentional, something that our colleague Sharat has been saying from the very beginning. And let's bring him on now. Sharat, हमें समझाइए ये जो सरकार ने अभी बोला है कि सारे सैंपल अब प्रोब होंगे फेक मेडिसिन्स के 15 दिन के अंतर्गत. इसका क्या मतलब है? ये सिर्फ कॉफ सिरप्स के हैं कि ये बाकी सैंपल्स भी हैं?
ये कफ सिरप भी हैं और बाकी भी हैं. जो हमने कल दिखाया था कि किस तरह से यहाँ पर सैंपल पिछले 1 साल से फेल हो रहे हैं, जिसमें कफ सिरप भी हैं, लेकिन सोनल कोई कार्रवाई नहीं की जा रही थी. ये रिपोर्ट देखने के बाद सुबह से हड़कंप मचा हुआ है. अभी अब मैं आपसे बात करने से पहले वहाँ बैठा हुआ था. उन्होंने कहा कि हम भी शॉक्ड हैं, और उन्होंने आज जब चेक किया है तो पता चला कि 290 सैंपल फेल हुए हैं जो मेजर जो लाइफ थ्रेटनिंग ड्रग्स हैं उनके हैं, और वो सारे के सारे छुपा के रखे हुए थे. कोई कार्रवाई नहीं की गई है. यहाँ तक उन्होंने ये कहा कि सस्पेंशन कोई सजा नहीं है. हम इस पर आगे जो अधिकारी हैं जिम्मेदार उन पर कार्रवाई करेंगे, और सारे ड्रग इंस्पेक्टरों को ये आदेश दिया गया है कि वो दूसरे राज्यों में जाएं जहां की फैक्ट्रियां हैं. मेरे ये सारे जो 290 हैं ड्रग्स उसके पुलिंदा हैं जो हमने उनको दिखाए कि आप ही के विभाग में रखा हुआ था. उन्होंने कहा कि सुबह से मैं इसी काम में लगी हुई हूं, कमिश्नर ड्रग कंट्रोलर ने, और पूरे राजस्थान के ड्रग कंट्रोलर की मीटिंग ले रही हूं. ये रियली शॉकिंग है कि इतने सारे स्पूरियस और फेक ड्रग होने के बाद भी कोई कार्रवाई नहीं हुई है. ये बेहद गंभीर मामला है और हम इसको बहुत गंभीरता से ले रहे हैं. हम सारे जो स्टेट हैं जहां पर ये फैक्ट्रियां हैं वहां भेज कर उनका कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन भी मंगा रहे हैं कि इन पर और क्या कार्रवाई हो सकती है. सेंटर को भी लिख रहे हैं. हमारे पास कर्मचारी कम है, लेकिन हमने कहा है कि 15 दिन के अंदर जो भी इनिशिएटिव लेना है कार्रवाई करने के लिए उसे लो, ताकि ये संदेश जो है ये जो कंपनियां हैं जो इस तरह की दवाएं बना रही है उसमें कठोर संदेश जाए कि कोई साल्ट ही नहीं है. अब मान लीजिए कि कोई एसिडिटी की दवा खा रहा है उसमें साल्ट नहीं है, एंटीबायोटिक खा रहा है एमोक्सिलिन उसमें कोई साल्ट ही नहीं है, या फिर आँख की दवा है, कान की दवा है जो जिस साल्ट से ठीक होना है वो है ही नहीं, तो इसका मतलब कि वो दवा बेकार खा रहा है. तो इस तरह से ये जो है बेहद गंभीर मामला था, जिसमें राजस्थान में इस तरह से सप्लाई हो रही थी ये जेनेरिक दवाइयां, और उसमें कोई कार्रवाई नहीं हो रही थी। जी
सो ये तो बहुत ही अच्छी रिपोर्ट आपने निकाली है शरत, एंड थैंक यू सो मच। इसका बहुत इंस्टेंट रिएक्शन भी हमें लग रहा है, आपने झकझोर दिया एक तरह से वहाँ पर जितनी अथॉरिटीज़ हैं उनको कि भाई ये रिपोर्ट हमारे पास है, आपके पास है, आप इस पर एक्शन क्यों नहीं ले रहे हैं, और इस पर बिल्कुल डटे रहिएगा। एंड राजस्थान सीम्स टू बी वन प्लेस एंड वन स्टेट विच इज़ टेकिंग गोइंग बियॉन्ड द कॉफ सिरप्स नाउ, बट इज़ दैट समथिंग दैट ऑल ऑफ इंडिया वी नीड टू लुक एट? And that's something where I want to bring in our guests now. Dr. Nihar Parikh is with us, Dr. Sanjeev Bagai as well. Dr. Bagai, we've been speaking about these cough syrup stories for a while now. And I really want to say this, that since day one, we said this, that this is just the tip of the iceberg. Now, Rajasthan is one example where we are seeing the story go beyond cough syrups. You are seeing them question that why aren't the drug controllers, who are supposed to be your eyes and ears on the ground, who are supposed to be your safety mesh, your safety net to ensure that it doesn't reach our homes, they're just sitting on these files when they already know that they have failed it. So clearly it's a nexus, it's a case of corruption that has costed lives. Would you say now is the time to actually understand and go deep into the entire world of generics? I say this because let's just put this in context for our viewers. Advisory after advisory by the government, and Nihar Parikh also, chime in right after that, keep saying that, doctors should not be prescribing brands for different reasons, of course. Doctors should be prescribing generics to ensure it's affordable, to ensure that you are not in some way sort of favoring a particular brand. But stories like these, do they make you change your mind?
Good evening. I think the first and foremost, I think all our prayers, the entire nation's prayers and condolences for the families who've lost their small children and infants. This is an absolute horror story, unacceptable under any set of circumstances. There is a failure. It's a serial failure. It's a systemic failure at various levels. And somehow or the other, anyone who has a government job should not take it for granted that he's got a passport to luxury till he retires and post-retirement benefits. I think if someone is not performing, that person has to be axed. I would request the government of India, write to the PMO to take out an iron hammer and pin down the people who are responsible. If it's the drug controller who's taking the responsibility, then the accountability must end with him. So if we need to change the gentleman, then so be it. Point number two, we need more number of manpower. We are grossly short of supervisors and manpower on the ground. And this we've known for the last 10 years. This is not a new story. So why is the deficiency of the resources still existing on the ground? Three is all the units who are performing with substandard drugs or adulterations or without safety measures or without what we call as quality control audits. They have to be stopped for life. These people cannot function under any circumstances. Lastly, there is a law. Now, who's going to implement the law? Under the new law of BSN, we know that there is an punishment of imprisonment up to life plus a punitive financial damage. Lock up the people who are the owners of the pharmaceutical companies for life. Set two examples pan-India, and you'll see how the rest of these people will fall in line. With regards to the use of drugs, I am never in favor of any pharmaceutical company. And I'm very proud of that. But the quality which is coming through any pharmaceutical company has to be authentic. Otherwise, we will lose patients and we may continue to lose precious lives. Over to you.
Yeah. Dr. Parikh, India has been such a shining example of affordable healthcare. We pride ourselves in saying that, this is one thing India has really cracked for a population of our size and one as diverse economically as we are as a nation. Yet here we are, perhaps for the first time, saying at what cost? What quality really?
So Sonal, it all boils down to, see, we as an Indian healthcare system is focused with the doctor at the fulcrum of everything, at the center of everything. And the trust begins and ends with the doctor. And when it comes to your child, the pediatrician or your family physician is the whole and soul of the entire healthcare. Now, that's a lot of responsibility on one person. So when you pick your doctor, the doctor needs to make sure that he's giving the best to your child when it comes to clinical diagnosis, when it comes to treatment, and when it comes to drugs. Now, when it comes to drugs, we take sole responsibility of writing brands down. Why? Because we know these companies who have been making these syrups and tablets for years. It has come down through our training. We've met these company people. They have explained us their making processes. They've explained us their clearances, their studies done. And when we know with all this information that these companies are valid, that's when we write a particular brand. Now, what is happening is there was a big hullabaloo or promotional push towards generic medicine, rightly so. But when the generics are non-trustworthy, and this is what happens when non-trustworthy medications, which small companies try and for their profit margins to go up, use substandard pharmaceutical, instead of using pharmaceutical forms of those derivatives, use industrial forms, this is what is bound to happen. So I tell all the patients that we have studied the companies that make these drugs. We have hands-on experiences with years of connections and relations, not financial, but of trust. So that's
Yeah, but
where
Dr.
these
Parekh,
things...
but if I have to be honest, I have to say this. We do know of doctors who prescribe only particular kind of drugs. We do know of doctors whose drugs and the brands that they prescribe are only found in the chemist shop near them. We know why that happens. I've been in covering health for a while to know the truth, even from the doctor's side. So I'm just finding it very hard to determine which way do we go. Do we trust the generics, which is the right intention to do, but nobody is doing checks there. This has to be centrally governed. And then equally, there need to be checks on the side of the doctors as well. Getting kickbacks, having MRs outside of your clinic is a reality of a day. Let's not deny that.
That's a fact. But MRs are not, medical representatives are not just for kickbacks. They are also there to explain the new drug launches. They're also there to explain which drug is working well. They're also there to explain you what studies have been done under these drugs for them to come out to the market. When we cross-question them about the cost, they have valid explanations why certain brands are costing more than other brands. See, look, in every profession, you're going to find those few bad apples who ruin the rest for everybody. But my end goal and my message, Sonal, is please trust your doctor, because your doctor is not out there to harm your child. Your doctor does tremendous amount of research before prescribing drugs. Yes, there are few in every profession who spoil it for the other ones, who tarnish the name of those guys who are doing a good and a sincere job with their work. So now, till the government doesn't raise its bar, doesn't provide us good quality checks on the generic meds, we are left with very few options, because the last thing we want is such unnecessary deaths in those absolute harmless children who have done nothing wrong, and those parents whose only intention was to treat their sick child.
Dr. Bagai, this really worries me, and I'll tell you why. Because on one hand, I get it. It's easy to say trust your doctor. Perhaps it's easier for us to say this sitting in metros. Informed citizen, perhaps one watching this show today, people like you, people like me, will question our doctors. We are on the other extreme. We go and say, well, ChatGPT is telling us this about a medicine. Why did you prescribe? But there is a reality of an alternate India, right? Where they are going to the Aushadhi Kendra, where they are getting a fantastic program, where they get medicines for free by the government under the prescription. But if there is no control on the quality of those drugs, then what is the point of this program? Like, I'm just trying to say, where is the end responsibility here? Where does the buck stop? If we are to go ahead with affordable healthcare, it cannot come at the cost of lives. Who is to be looked at here? Clearly not the drug controller alone.
So, for many years, everyone has been talking of affordable, accessible, and accredited healthcare. And for me, the last word is most important, the accreditation. That means standardization. That means evidence-based medicine. That means quality of healthcare. That means safety of patient first. At a very larger level, and I'll talk more from an administrative point of view and a clinical point of view, and actually at a spiritual level. Doctors have to self-educate themselves. A degree 20 years back does not hold that good right
Absolutely.
now. Medicine is not like any other profession. And I've said this to every person who's joining in medicine. You want to make a lot of money, do some other business. You have to feel for the patient. Patient is a living soul. A patient is a person who comes to you in pain. He's come with trust. We cannot betray that trust. So self-education is extremely important. Point number 2 is doctors are, as it is, over-regulated. So I don't think we need more regulation on the doctors, but the doctors and pharma companies, if there is any evidence which has been found, I'm using the word if, because 99.9% of the doctors are really good. But if there is any evidence found of any doctor taking anything in cash or kind or in any other sponsorship or endorsement, that person's license to practice for life should be cancelled straight away. There should be zero tolerance towards nonsense. Point number 3, I would urge and beg the government, straight to the PMO, have more people on the ground for quality checks of all pharmaceutical manufacturing outlets.
Absolutely. Absolutely, absolutely. Couldn't agree more with you. Dr. Parekh, quickly coming to you for a last word over there. In this fight against affordable healthcare versus brands, generics versus brands, the thing with, and I'm basically questioning my own story here to say, is that really the story that we should be looking at, or should we continue to question, push, and get more answers from the government to say that checks were your responsibility? Getting the right doctor is perhaps mine. I mean, I'm here making checklist on what you should be checking on your ingredient list of a cough syrup. That should not be my job. That should be the job of the government.
You're absolutely correct, Sonal. So bringing up a child today in today's environment with multiple sicknesses that are 10 times more than what used to be 10 years ago, vaccines which are 10 times more, which used to be 20 years ago. I think a parent has lot on their plates. On top of that, having one more thing to deal with is, are the medications safe? Are the prescriptions correct?
All right, we seem to have lost that line with Dr. Parekh, but it's a good time to thank both of them for bringing in their perspective. Dr. Bagai and Dr. Parekh, thank you both for joining us with your perspective. Clearly not the last, and what I can promise is that we will not let go of this story. Just like the medical profession, the journalism profession also has to be held to higher standards, and we'll try and keep our end of the bargain over there. So what happens when a hit show becomes courtroom fodder? The curious case of Sameer Wankhede, of course. So what's the latest here? The Delhi High Court has now issued summons to Netflix, Shah Rukh Khan's Red Chilli Entertainment, and others in the defamation suit filed by the officer there, Sameer Wankhede. The suit challenges his portrayal in the Netflix series, The Bads of Bollywood, directed by Aryan Khan, alleging it has accused defamatory online trolling against him and his wife. Now, Wankhede's lawyer said that an amendment application was filed and the case falls under Delhi's jurisdiction. He adds that the series caused defamatory online trolling of Wankhede and his wife. What is he seeking? 2 crores in damages, which he intends to donate to the Tata Memorial Cancer Hospital. The suit also requests permanent injunctions against the production house and others, aiming to halt the alleged false and malicious content in the series. The context here, well, that matters, right? The officer who arrested Aryan Khan in 2021 is now himself under the CBI investigation for alleged bribery and currently stands suspended from service. Meanwhile, The Bads of Bollywood remains a streaming giant with over 4.5 million views in India last week, making it Netflix's most watched original series in the country. So a powerful show, a controversial figure, and a courtroom clash, a face wash, and clearly a face-off thereover, which is far from over. Let's try and understand the story a little bit more in detail, and let me bring in our reporters. Joining us is Devesh Singh, live from Mumbai. Also, Sana will be joining us in just a bit. Devesh, looking at the backdrop of this story, and you've covered it quite a bit in detail, where does this leave the current investigation? When it came out, I think one of the most popular things, and perhaps why Bads of Bollywood was called so gutsy, is the fact that he could take on his past. He could take on Sameer Wankhede without naming him or the agency. But clearly everybody knew, right?
Well, the case began in October 2021. Remember the cruise drugs case where Aryan Khan and his friend were arrested. Aryan Khan, remember, I am pointing this out again. Aryan Khan was arrested, placed under arrest. He was booked for conspiracy under section 27 of NDPS, which is a very stringent section. NCB had also leveled allegations that he was part of an international drug syndicate. Remember, again, Aryan Khan was not carrying any kind of drugs. Despite that, he was arrested. He was placed under arrest, he was booked, he was remanded to NCB custody, and then he had to remain in jail as well. Finally, he did not get bail from the magistrate court, did not get bail from the sessions court. Finally, he got bail from the Bombay High Court. Now, what happened after that? After that, there were series of allegations. Rather, the then NCP leader Nawab Malik brought to light a witness who was also a witness of Narcotics Control Bureau, where the witness, his name was Prabhakar Sail, and he said how the complete trap was set, how Sameer Wankhede and his team, including another witness Gosavi, who is seen holding Aryan Khan and bringing him to the NCB office, taking a selfie with Aryan Khan inside the NCB office, how they were made to go for the raid, how Aryan Khan was asked to call his father, message his father, contact his father by Gosavi. And remember, there was a very serious allegation, a demand of 18 crores to be paid by the witness, to be paid so that Aryan Khan could go scot-free. Also that night, rupees 50 lakhs, Pooja Dadlani, who is Shah Rukh Khan's manager and associate, she paid 50 lakhs to some people who were associated with this Gosavi, this Prabhakar Sail, and one more person. There were 50 lakhs that were received, and that was caught on CCTV. Even Mumbai police started investigation on that, how all this was carried out, how the money was received. They also recorded multiple people's statements. After that, after all these things came to light regarding bribery allegations, regarding lapses, regarding irregularities, there was an internal inquiry conducted by the Narcotics Control Bureau itself. And in that inquiry, Gyaneshwar Singh found out that there were multiple irregularities on part of Sameer Wankhede. There were allegations of corruption against Sameer Wankhede. There were allegations of holidays being paid by someone else. There were allegations of watches worth 20 lakh rupees or even more than that being gifted to him. There were
That's a
allegations
good background
of,
there, Devesh, that you've brought in. Yeah, that's a very good background. But we spoke with India Today, spoke with Sameer Wankhede to try and understand what were his intentions with this petition. What is he trying to go after? Because the show has already been watched by people. This is what he said.
My wife, my sister, my family, they have nothing to do with some kind of incidents, what I do, what I don't do basically. They are women and nothing related to my job. But unfortunately, not even trolls, they are facing hate mails, threats from even countries like Pakistan, from countries like UAE. And surprisingly, I mean, nothing absolutely has to do with my job or with anything like that. But nonetheless, this is a bad to the issue. This is a very smaller issue. But here I am fighting for the right of the law enforcement officers who are giving their life to the nation. They are fighting against the serious issues like drugs. They are giving blood to the nation. They cannot be mocked. They cannot be lampooned. They cannot be humiliated like that. Whatever my stand is, I have mentioned that before the Honorable High Court. And whatever evidence is, whatever is there, I will produce that before the Honorable High Court. My say, let them do what I mean, let them come up with their say or something like that, for the Honorable Judiciary to decide.
Sameer Wankhede is saying that officers like him cannot be mocked and lampooned in this manner. But what exactly will be Netflix's reply now, or strategy also to begin with? Sana Farzeen now joins us for more on this, and we still have Devesh here. Sana, what exactly, do we have an idea of what Netflix, what Red Chilli's response to court will be on this?
Right now, they're all maintaining a no comment stance that usually we hear when there's a legal battle going on. But as of now, they will definitely state to the court that this was a fictional show. And as in most shows, the disclaimer that comes up before any project, any piece of content airs is that all characters in this series or in this films are fictional and any resemblance is purely coincidental.
But Sana, it's
Aryan
not
Khan,
fictional, is it? The reference
absolutely,
is
it's
pretty clear.
not. It is definitely, but what Aryan has gone through, and I think what you were rightly speaking about, is the show is being talked about is because he's taken on every incident that has happened in his life and whatever we feel happens in Bollywood in a very gutsy and bold manner. Definitely, he's gone ahead and spoken about nepotism, about exclusive contracts that kind of kills actors' career. And definitely the relationship that people share, which is all friendly and all loving in front of the camera, but there's so much of animosity behind the screen, and
So you're
all of
basically
this has
saying
been
their response could be that he's not just mocking Wankhede, he's actually mocked the first family of Bollywood. His own
absolutely, it's a
father has mocked
yeah.
himself, he's mocked the entire industry. So where is this argument really coming from? And the industry seems to be okay. That's the nature of the series that has been made. Well, interesting. Let's see where this goes. And we'll keep a track of that story. Thank you, Devesh and Sana, for joining us with the very latest on that. But that's not the only thing glittering at the moment. Gold is glittering like never before. Prices have hit a historic high, crossing 1.22 lakh per 10 grams. The record surge comes just a week before Dhanteras and Diwali, when gold buying traditionally sort of spikes across the country. Driven by global uncertainty, a weakening dollar, and hopes of US interest rate cuts, investors are now flocking to gold as a safe haven. But with prices at an all-time high like this one, the big question now is, should you buy? Should you hold? Should you really wait it out? We break it down on what's behind the rally and what it means for you, especially if you're planning to buy gold in this festive season. Sakshi Batra here with all the latest.
That's right, Sonal. Gold prices have shattered all sorts of records in the domestic physical market. We see now gold prices trending at 1,25,000 rupees per 10 grams. Now, this is after a 50% surge that we have seen in gold all this year round. In fact, this year has been one of the unprecedented ones when we've seen gold prices rallying very, very swiftly in a very short period of time as well. This is also the second consecutive year when we have seen gold prices continuously outperforming all the other asset classes as well. Now, what we are also given to understand is the key reasons behind this dizzying rally have been manifold. At this point in time, if you look at the economic uncertainty that was first driven by the tariff hikes by the US, and now it's also being driven by the US government shutdown, which has entered its second day, adding on to the economic uncertainty and the delays in the decisions as well. Now, apart from this, there's also the geopolitical unrest, now the unrest in France as well, the war that continues between Ukraine and Russia, that has led to a safe haven appeal and further is leading people to buy that as well. Now, there is also an expectation that the Federal Reserve, the biggest central bank in the world in the US, will be reducing its interest rates, thereby reducing the appeal for the financial assets, but thereby increasing the appeal for the yellow metal at large as well. Look at what is happening across the world. Global central banks have been only increasing their purchases in gold, as that has also added on to this sharp rally in gold prices as well. Now, remember.
All right. Thanks so much, Sakshi, for bringing us the very latest on that story. Let's move on now. And deep divisions. Let's tell you about what's happening in the Tata Trust there. The body which has a 2/3 stake in Tata Sons, the operating company behind Tata Group. They forced the government to call a meeting with Noel Tata and Tata Sons chairman N. Chandrasekharan and 2 other trustees last night. The high-level meeting had Home Minister Amit Shah and Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman as well in attendance. So what exactly happened there?
Even before a year has passed since Ratan Tata's passing, India's most iconic business house finds itself in turmoil. On the eve of his first death anniversary, the Tata Group is battling a storm within. One that has now drawn the attention of the country's top political leadership. Top Tata honchos on Tuesday night met Home Minister Amit Shah and Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman in a clear indication of the government's unease with the tempest in Tata Trust, which owns 2/3 of Tata Sons. According to reports, the government is understood to have delivered a clear message in the 45-minute meeting at the Home Minister's residence. Restore stability at Bombay House and prevent the internal discord from spilling over into Tata Sons. The closed-door meeting was attended by Tata Trust Chairman Noel Tata, Vice Chairman Venu Srinivasan, Tata Sons Chairman N. Chandrasekharan, and Trustee Darius Khambata. The divide at the Tata Trust runs deep between Noel Tata, N. Chandrasekharan, and Venu Srinivasan, who is also the Chairman Emeritus of TVS Motor, reportedly on one side, and Mehli Mistry, Pramit Jhaveri, Darius Khambata, and Jahangir H.C. Jahangir on the other. Reports suggest that the trust has been divided since the passing of Ratan Tata last year. There are allegations that the opposing camp led by Tata Group veteran Mehli Mistry has attempted to undermine Noel Tata's leadership, acting as a super board by trying to vet board meeting minutes and approve independent directors shortlisted by Tata Sons Nomination and Remuneration Committee. There are also allegations of opacity and exclusion in key decisions and deepening mistrust among trustees. Such moves have raised serious corporate governance concerns within the organization. The rift has become more apparent in the recent months. The government's concern that these divisions could destabilize Tata Sons, the holding company of a conglomerate that defines Indian business. From software to steel, power to automobiles, the Tata Group is the backbone of corporate India. With a combined market capitalization of over 40 lakh crore rupees, even small tremors within the group can shake investor confidence. Reports also say the centre has also discussed the RBI's mandate for listing Tata Sons and the liquidity concerns of the Shapoorji Pallonji Group, the second largest shareholder in the conglomerate. But the primary message was unmistakable. The Tata Trust must act decisively to end the internal power struggle. Meanwhile, even as the Tata Sons standoff continues, preparations were underway for remembrance events marking the first anniversary of Ratan Tata's death. A man whose vision and integrity defined the group for decades and who is now certainly being missed by Tata Group investors. Bureau Report, Business Today TV.
Missed indeed, especially in a time of crisis like this. That's all we have on 5 Live for you today.